Hello, beautiful souls. I am here to continue a conversation. And Milo is peeking out behind me. Gotta love timing. Yes, I want to maybe title this Stop Trying to Survive in the Old Paradigm. Do you feel like part of you is expanding? There is an inner knower that is bursting forth. There is a deeper you that you're expanding into. And yet shit hits the fan, maybe symptoms increase, maybe you're feeling really heavy or down or depressed. And then instead of breathing into it to keep expanding, to allow all that's coming up to come up and out and be transmuted, instead you get scared, you go back into survival mode, and you start to keep it all and trap it all back inside. And then you go back to being a hamster on a wheel and trying to survive in the old paradigm. And it really mirrors life right now, Earth and our planet and our world as we see it. And then the new Earth that we've been creating, that we are creating, and that every moment we have the opportunity to co-create either from divinity through us or the ego through us, meaning the ego has the driver's seat, which is never a good thing. Are you trying to survive in the old paradigm, the old operating system? If you're not sure, some good signs that you are is that you are easily overwhelmed. You feel when this overwhelm comes on, it could even paralyze you. You have so many things you want to do on the to-do list and maybe can't get to all of them. There's definitely going to be more angst, more anxiety, more rushing. Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on. It's a good thing when this is happening, and I know that it doesn't feel good. But if you could learn to, when the overwhelm is arising, when you feel that you're out of control, trying to get into control, and maybe you're even trying to hold everything together, when what's required is to let it all go and let it fall apart. All of this is a sign for you to breathe into the overwhelm and know that the sign is that you are expanding beyond what you're comfortable. And that small ego self is trying to hang on. Expand out. Let it all in. Let the light in. Let all the feels and thoughts and literally inhale into it rather than away from it, to welcome the shaking, to welcome the maybe dancing with it, screaming it out, crying it out. This is how you move beyond. Or you can just slow down, curl up in a ball, but still breathe and be with whatever energies are arising with love and with care. Because it's an indicator that the old operating system that you're trying to survive in, you've expanded beyond. So it's kind of like if you're trying to put clothes on that don't fit anymore because they're too small. So just imagine that right now. You're trying to put on jeans that you can't even get up on your waist. A shirt that you're trying to put on and you can't even get it over your head because it's too tight. You could keep trying to force it. Are you going to get it on? You're going to be so uncomfortable. This is the same thing that's happening energetically. When you have expanded, when you are expanding, and then life and God and the eternal Pure spirit is inviting you to let go and let the divine in. And instead, because it's uncomfortable for you, to you, you like literally grab onto the old. And that grabbing onto the old, that clasping, is what causes the overwhelm, the anxiety, the depression. And it's because you're suppressing the moment rather than relaxing into the moment. You're grasping and you're clinging to survive where the divine is asking you to thrive. And you have to make space for the uncomfortable and let that energy flow through you so it can come up and out rather than stay inside. This is how we get in the way of our own healing. And so I'm doing a series of talks or videos and podcasts on how we get in the way of a body that already knows how to heal. So I was looking in my notes because I have so much here that's so valuable. That is my book in process. Life is showing up as a reflection of what you are holding inside so that you can make the changes to what you're holding inside so that you can become more embodied, a higher version of you. It's the same thing. When you're in that overwhelm, life is letting you know we have a new higher operating system here. Let go, soften, breathe, relax, invite that light in. This is the time to notice the grasping, the clasping. And remember, life is showing me that I'm holding on so tight to something inside. And the longer that I hold on to it, the more I suppress it, it stays inside. And that's what we don't want. When this stays inside, these are the old programs, the old stories. These are the wounds. This is the trauma. These are the lies. But they are lies that you believed in, that you, one point in your past, bought, sold to yourself. And then you're allowing them to keep running your system by suppressing your feelings, by spiritually bypassing. And somebody asked me the other day, what does that mean, spiritual bypassing? Well, a huge percentage of the spiritual community do it. And I don't say that with judgment. I think I did it too. It's not always conscious. And then sometimes it is conscious and narcissistic. But spiritual bypassing is when everything in you is saying judgmental things, angry things. Maybe you feel sick. Maybe you feel shame, feel grief, feel anything negative. And then you just go, I am love and light. I am whole and healthy. I am resilient and positive. I'm going to be a positive thinker. So you could even making myself laugh. As a few of my mentors have said often, when you just go into positivity and do the spiritual bypassing, that's like putting ice cream on poop. It's still poop. And this is why EFT tapping is so great. And I'm doing so much of it with my clients. Because when you tap, you're acknowledging the bad thought, the awful feeling, the lie that you're believing. You acknowledge it. You don't spiritually bypass it for something positive. You even let yourself feel it to some degree, if not to a huge degree. And the whole point of tapping on it, or even letting yourself feel it or breathing into it, is to be here in the present moment with what is real. And then by acknowledging it, that's like saying to the little one in your body, because there's many little ones in there. You can see it as their patterns. You can see it as their energy. I like to see it as the little versions of me, because then it's more personal. So when those versions are there because they really, it's real to them. That fear, that wanting to be protected, that not feeling safe, that not being safe to feel, all of that is so real to the energy in your body. And then when you feel it, when you breathe into it, you're giving that you permission and not making it wrong. It doesn't matter that you know better now. The energy in your body is stuck and frozen there because you have abandoned it. This isn't to beat yourself up. It's just now with a new awareness, you can tap on it or acknowledge it or welcome it and free yourself by then asking some questions to support you. What if all of this is for you? Acknowledge it all. What if all of this really is for me? What if I have been making this wrong and there is something that's so right about this? What would it take for me to feel all of this, to let all of this in, and to open to something higher? What if it had to be this way to get me to this moment now? So then we work with the seemingly negative, which are really just feelings that were suppressed. We're allowing that to come forth. And then the open-ended question is we're opening the door to something higher. Then we can begin to affirm with maybe a positive affirmation, but something that really we can feel is going to resonate. So when the symptom is really loud and it's really painful, or you're feeling very dense or feeling very triggered, that's a celebration, because life is reflecting to you what you're holding inside. Yes, it's easy to point to the outside, to blame. Did you hear what I said? It's easy. That's the quick fix. Sorry about my pause. It came up that I had bad internet, so hopefully this is still going. Anyway, the quick fix is to just be pointing and blaming and reacting. That doesn't really require a practice to take responsibility. That if you're triggered, it's because there's an energy in your body that's being triggered. It's because there is a pattern in your body, a program, a younger version of you, a little one, that is feeling unsafe, angry, reactive. And you get to become present, soften the body, and breathe into it so that it can transmute. It will not transmute if you point the finger at the blame, if you just fix the symptom, if you take the pill, if you fill in the blank, put the Band-Aid on it. Not that anything is wrong with those things. But the energy is not going to move if you don't meet it. So let's continue. What would it be like to play out your true self, embodied and expressed? And this is where it requires surrender. Maybe being in the uncomfortable because you're letting go of control. What if you allowed yourself to be a vessel for this unlimited God as you, this transcending reality, and allow this into your life. So if the world is a reflection of you, how do you operate knowing this? Well, then you would realize that every brother, sister, like every person in your orbit, in the vortex around you, are here to serve your expansion. They're a gift. So that very person that you're pointing the blame at is actually a teacher, a savior, if you will. How would you have that experience? How would you be able to transcend the experience if that person wasn't the catalyst? So yeah, it might show up in the external as someone hurting you, triggering you in some capacity. And then you become judgmental or reactive. Where is that in your body? How can you breathe into that? Who is that one that is feeling that? Can you take responsibility for this energy in your body and say, thank you for showing me that this is here? Sometimes it's not a person that triggers us, it's a symptom. It's a diagnosis. And oh my gosh, how many people I see and hear like owning their diagnosis as if it's their identity. Don't do that. You may have a diagnosis, but don't say I have, and then what? You don't need to claim that for yourself. But when the symptoms increase, be it some sort of bodily function or pain or illness, the human nature is to constrict and close and panic and worry. And all of that keeps the illness inside. All of that inhibits your healing because then stories evolve. I'll never be well. What if I'm sick all the time? And then it's just a recipe for a disaster. And not a lot of people, I should say, are teaching this. And it's the medicine. And you've heard me say all the time, because you are the medicine. That's why so many of my programs are, I am the message, I am the medicine. Because it is the same for you. And when you, instead of contract, try to soften, breathe into the symptom, not make it mean anything, but know that when we welcome the symptom that has maybe exacerbated and connect with it, and yes, dare I say, allow it to be there and communicate with it and witness it and observe it and let it be there. It doesn't mean you're creating more of it. When you resist it, when you close, when you try to fix it, you keep it inside and you make it worse. When you have as a practice softening into the symptom, connecting with it, and even saying, thank you for showing me that you're here. You're allowed to be here in my body. There's going to be an ego voice that's like, we can't allow that. And you can even welcome that voice. All is welcome, because it's either all welcome or all resisted. You can't have both. And when you do have both, which isn't really possible, because then it's just a tug of war. So when you welcome it, that's the higher you holding space for all of it. It's only the ego, the small self, that decides this isn't good, this isn't safe, I need to control. Whose voice is that? Do you really think that God doesn't have it under control? You really think that your body that does all this other stuff for you can't also clear this too? Did you ever think that energetically and cellularly there is more here calling for you? not the doctor, not the medicine, not saying anything's wrong with those things. You can use them, and can you show up to meet the you on the inside that's looking for you every time you are looking for outside answers? What does the doctor say? What does this research say? What is this medicine going to do? You will continually do that throughout your life and will never fully be healed. Or you can still research and get the attention that you need and meet yourself inside to forgive, to allow, to trust, to make space, and to feel what maybe has never been felt. And so when you invite in the higher you, when you invite in God, when you soften the body and you let that higher light in, symptoms are going to get worse. You may even be more triggered because that light is shining on all the places inside you that have been hidden, that have been suppressed. And then that bubbles up. And when it bubbles up, this is the time to double down on the divine, on the breath, on the opening, no matter what, on the commitment to thrive and open and feel, and to radiate the love and light of who you are. That's what creates a more prosperous world, a more prosperous and healthy life for you. Every person in your life serves in your expansion. Every circumstance in your life is serving in your expansion, if you so choose and welcome it and allow it. Are you trying to survive in this old paradigm, in this old operating system? Or are you willing to move into the uncomfortable as a sign that when you're in the overwhelm and in that uncomfortableness, and when symptoms have increased, and when you're triggered is just like beyond, you can say, yes, something so right is happening. I am tapping into my true divinity and potential. And the problem here is that we've desensitized ourselves way too much. The reason that the whole world is the way that it is right now is because of we've just been desensitizing everything. There aren't enough people screaming. And I know it's easy to say, oh, but they are. What I'm saying is not screaming to react to something. That's what people are doing right now. They're screaming to react to something political, which does nothing, by the way. It adds to the divide. I'm pausing there because you might be triggered by that, but it's the truth. When you react to the external, you are contributing to the divide, because any reactive space is coming from the ego, the small self, the separated self. That is not the divine as you. That is not love as you. And you cannot be both. You're either in love or fear. Fear reacts. Love just is. Love's the higher frequency and vibration. So when you are in love and all the stuff comes up, you get to love it, and it dissolves into wholeness because you're not resisting it. And it moves mountains. And it then, like a tidal wave, blankets the planet with love, creating a lightness and healing for all others who are also ready. That's how powerful you are. When you react to a sickness, a symptom, the world, the news, you are creating the very energy that contributes to more of it. And it's not just me saying this, it's spiritual law, the law of physics. It's just the nature of the universe. So yeah, the world is desensitized to cope and just survive rather than feel what's actually happening inside. To make a real true choice to free yourself that's going to create the health, the abundance, the prosperity. Everyone is just interested in managing their stress, mitigating the symptoms. It's never going to work. What if we get more interested and curious about true healing? About how do we create something else? How do I let in and receive all of this stress and these triggers? Because it's the fire from which a whole new universe gets created. Did you ever think of that? By you feeling it and owning what's in you, you're transmuting it for your lineage, your family, the collective, and creating the new earth that is the one you want to live in. When you react to the symptoms, when you close, when you react to the external world and judge it and judge the other side, you're creating more of it for the collective. So you're contributing to the divide and you're dividing yourself. And when you're in division within yourself, then that's only fear and closure, because there can't be love and fear. It's all in or all out. There can't be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It can't be, well, I like this, but I'm going to keep that one out. That's not the way it works. It's all love or it's all fear, and it's your choice. And the ego is going to try to trick you. Well, no, I can kind of do this, but I don't like that person, so let me push them out. And there's that hamster on the wheel again. What if I open to creating something new? What if I feel what's here rather than manage my stress? And what if that burns up the old construct, the old operating system? This is what births the new you. This will birth something through you. So what is your choice? It's always your choice. And it can be conscious by listening to this moment and letting it percolate and maybe letting it trigger you. Or it could be unconscious, which is all the old programs and the old system and the very outdated, indoctrinated medical system that is, as I've said before and will continue to say, it is a death care, not health care. It is a sick care system. And it does not serve the highest healing. And so it's your choice to welcome it all and create a protocol that works for you, or to constantly be fighting or resisting or trying to survive while you're expanding. This is the work, my friends. This is what I'm doing day in and day out with clients and students. And if you need further support, reach out. Peace, blessings, love and light.